What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Almost happy Thanksgiving. Threw that Thanksgiving background on there since we are close. This is Thanksgiving week. I know that many of you are going to be on vacation most of this week, and we don't have a full week of market. So be aware of that we are only in the market here for a few days. I'm looking at my screen and I see something weird. It looks like I've got the subscribe thing across my face there. That's kind of weird. All right. Well, we won't stress about that. You may not be able to see me very well. That's kind of weird. So hold on one second, everybody. We're going to try to figure this thing out real quick. Dylan. Are they seeing this subscribe thing over my face on the channel? How do I get rid of that? It's like the little thing that's supposed to be in the corner of the screen, but it looks like it's completely covering me. I muted it. I turned it off. I turned the camera off. Is there a way to fix that now or no? All right, you guys just heard me yelling at my engineer, my son, my 14-year-old son. That's all good. All right. All right, we're back. I had to ask my 14-year-old engineer, my son Dylan, who does all the technical stuff for me, like, hey, help me with this. So now my live, you got me screaming across the house for my son. All right, let's see. We've got Paulette from Kentucky. What's up, Paulette? From the Discord. Ravi from North Carolina is here. Anne is in Minnesota. Anne, it is so good to see you in here. I know that you make a lot of comments in the videos, so thank you so much for that and for being part of the live. You should jump into the Discord and get in there with us. David from UK, good to see you back. John, part of our Discord, another member there. Awesome. So happy to see you in the Discord as well. Let's see. We also have John Wheat. We got John Palladino, John Wheat. What's up, John? Good to see you in here. So happy, so happy. We got about 13 people here in the live. So if this is your first time being part of our live, welcome and thank you for being here. If you're interested in jumping into our Discord, there's a link below. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button so you'll be notified every time we post a new video, and hit that like button for me so we can continue to build the algorithm. And there's already questions come in. Listen, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to try to address as many questions as I can tonight in the chat, because I do believe that you should have a lot of questions with the way the market sits and the way the market looks. So we're going to chart some things together, but we're also looking to see what the S&P 500 is doing. And so here we are. Let's see a market. It's 8 o'clock, but we haven't seen the market tick up or down yet. And yes, we did. There it is. Boom. You all saw it live. So here, check this out. I'm going to pull this out a little bit. We do have a gap up on the S&P 500. So what a great way to start our Sunday night live tonight. Thank you, Lord, that we see a gap up. That's good news, because if we saw a gap down, we would have known that the Friday run into the post market would have been the continuation of a rundown. Now, I'm not saying that on Monday morning, tomorrow morning, when we wake up after the 4:30 market kicks in and the 9:30 bell hits, that this market is going to be running green. But I can tell you that there's a much better chance of seeing potentially an uptrend in the market from where we have been over the last several days. And that's what I'm looking forward to and very excited about. So let's just continue to pray and hope that we do see the market running up, as we do have this little bit of a gap up. And I wanted to share a few things with you very quickly for those of you live in here with me, and for those of you that are going to be watching this as a recording. I know personally, right? I'm in the market with you all. I have, this account that I use, my Webull account, is for day trading pretty much only. I have some longer term investments that I have in here because I bought stuff and held on to it. I have another account, my E-Trade account, I have a Robinhood account that have some long-term retirement stuff. Palantir, I talk about all the time, is one of them. And hey, Andy, thank you so much. We'll look at Hood together and take a look at that. But what I'm going to share is that I know that many of you, including myself, are feeling a little bit of anxiety about the market right now, feeling a little bit stressed about the market right now, feeling a little bit upset about what's happening in the market right now. And I totally get it. But here's what I want to share. This is not abnormal. I know if you've been watching my other videos, I've been sharing with you that this is not abnormal in the market. As a matter of fact, the market typically has some form of a pullback at least 3 times a year. About every 4 months, the market is going to retrace or pull back. Now, what that percentage of pullback is, do we know? No, we don't really know. But we do know what's happening with the market right now. And about 3 weeks ago, Jerome Powell, I know he's not my favorite, but Jerome Powell got up and he made a speech. He talked about the December potential cuts, and he said, probably not going to happen. We're probably not going to see a December cut. We're probably not going to see the December rate get, another drop back. And well, that caused a lack of confidence in the market overall. The way I kind of want to share this with you, right? Hear me out for a second. And thank you to all of you that just joined this live. I see we've got about 18 people in here. Thank you so much for being here. But here's what I want to share with you. If you are in Florida or in a southern state in the United States, okay, and I know that we've got some UK folks here. We've got some folks from some other, countries over in Europe. I think we have someone from Brazil. We have Spain, right? You may not understand how I share about this in South Florida or in southern states, Georgia, North and South Carolina, Atlanta, Louisiana, okay? But let's talk about hurricanes for a minute. I know that some of you may not understand hurricanes because you have never lived through a hurricane, but my wife especially will always say to me when there's potentially a storm brewing in the middle of the ocean, she'll say, turn on the news. What is the news saying about the storm? Okay, now I work full-time for a corporation. I'm an executive for that corporation, and we have a emergency operations team that work directly with our state emergency operations center, with the government, with our government relations folks, and we have more live time, more real analysis of what's happening with the storms. And if you put on the Weather Channel or you put on your local news channel, of course, the hype is going to be the worst storm possible is coming. Buckle down, bear down, get your supplies. You need to be in shelter, right? Because it's coming and you have to be prepared. All right. Well, what does that do for the networks? Well, it boosts ratings. More people log in because of fear and they want to know what's next, what's coming next. Well, that is exactly the same thing for the stock market. The stock market works the same way. This is like a hurricane. This is like a tropical storm, and everyone is in fear. They're putting wood coverages up over doors and windows. They're putting sandbags down so they don't get flooded. They're doing all the preparations for this storm, but this is not a storm. This is a healthy, normal pullback that we are seeing. We're down and back. Matter of fact, another one of our Discord and subscribers named Shaft that I have a lot of one-on-one communication with asked me on Friday, hey, Josh, what do you think as far as the market? How far of a pullback is this? Because on his account, he's down about, in his account, he's probably down about, 27, 28, 30%. Well, I will say that this is basically about a 5% what we're seeing right now. And some analysts and some, individuals say that we're not done, that this could be a 10% pullback, a 12% pullback, 15%. All right. In 2000 with the dot-com bubble pop, that was about a 50% drop, okay, in the market. In 2008, we had a pullback, and that was, I think about 15%. Right? So here we are at 5% on an average. And to me, that is not a market crash. That is not the market is going to completely flush and you need to be out and get out with everything. Now, I'm not telling you to buy, sell. I'm not telling you to do anything with your money. You also have to understand your own risk tolerance, your own level of where are you with your financial situation, your financial status, to know what the market's doing and make decisions based on that for your potential, your account. So I don't feel it's a crash. I think that we have had a few weeks of more red days than green, and potentially we're going to see more pullback as the market, continues to breathe a little bit. Now let's see. I've got Zircon Daphne, raised in Louisiana, Lower Alabama. There you go. She's from the Gulf Shore. Yeah, so she knows about storm activity too, right? And welcome. Glad to have you here. But bottom line is what I just want to share with all of you, whether you're watching this live or you are watching this for the first time as a recorded, video, is that no one should panic. If the market was at a potential where it was not at extreme fear, if you go to the fear index, it's in extreme fear right now, we wouldn't see that. A crash happens like this, okay, without you really seeing it coming. We see this coming. We knew this was coming. We knew when NVIDIA posted its earning and had this incredible earnings result, crushed their earnings, all right? And we saw that it started to pull back down. Well, we knew that the market was making this turn, okay? Everyone said, well, even I said it, NVIDIA is going to be the gauge for if this AI boom is going to pull back or it's going to continue to run, or if NVIDIA could correct it. Well, NVIDIA didn't correct it. It had amazing earnings, and now we're in this breathing moment. So what I would ask all of you to do is take a deep breath, okay? Relax a little bit, because the entire market's not down. You can go to sectors of the market and see there's still strength in many areas of the market. You just have to see where is the money rotating to. And when I go to things like, the markets here, all right, and this is, let's see if it resets, sort of. Let's give it a minute, because, sometimes Webull doesn't adjust very well. But you can see when we closed Friday, everything was in a bit of a green up. All right. And this is all the different industries, oil and gas. All right. Passenger and travel, uranium, construction. Okay. Food and tobacco, all green. Now, unless this completely turns red, because it's resetting, then we won't see that. But here's schools, colleges, professional, business, miscellaneous education, food, tobacco, oil, gas, passenger transport, media, publishing, uranium, okay, biotech, construction and engineering has definitely some red in there, okay? But what I basically want to share with you is not to stress out about the market. And if you're in it and you're an investor, then be an investor. Don't panic as somebody who got in with the expectation to make a quick buck and get out. Warren Buffett said, and then we're going to get into the charts together. And I see that we've had a few people drop off here in the live, and that's totally fine. Warren Buffett said in a video that I watched today, he said, if you ever expect to buy a stock, look at this. Look how everything pretty much just kicked back green. If you ever expect to buy a stock that won't potentially drop at least 50%, where you can buy the stock and not be stressed about it pulling back 50%, then you shouldn't be buying the stock. You shouldn't be investing in the market. Warren Buffett said, buy stock regardless of it's going to drop or it's going to pump, because your intention is not to buy an investment to just make a quick buck and get out. Now, yes, as a retail day trader, as average Joe day trader, I am in and out of many stocks, APLD as a main, every day. And I make what I can out of it every day. But that doesn't mean that I don't have in my account, okay, 10,000 shares of APLD for my retirement. And is it down considerably right now? Yes, it's down considerably right now compared to my average. But long term, all right, I'm 51 years old. When I go to retire, when I officially say I am done, mic drop, I'm out of here, okay? And I decide not to do this anymore, just to spend the rest of my life enjoying my wife, my traveling, my grandchildren, my kids, whatever the Lord blesses me with at the time. Well, then at that point, I'll be able to go to my account and say, man, am I glad I bought APLD or BBAI or Palantir or whatever it is, all right, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I said it and forgot about it, because that's what a real long-term investor does. Do you know that Warren Buffett bought Google? at the high. He just bought a ton of stock in Google last week at the high of Google. All right. And I sort of thought, like, Warren Buffett, bro, you're buying Google at the all-time high, right? Is that smart? Wait for the pullback and buy it then. Well, no, because Warren Buffett understands that Google, based on everything it's got going on, all its connections to AI, to technology, to the world, is going to continue to grow and continue to go. Warren Buffett didn't buy it as a day trade. He didn't buy it as a swing trade. He bought it as an investment. So what I want you all to do is get in the charts and chart out on a 4-hour, on a 1 day, on a 1 week, on a 1 month, and look and see where the stocks were and where they are now, and buy those dips when you feel ready to invest in great companies. I know for a fact we're at a position right now where we can make amazing money. This is where the wealthy are waiting like sharks in the water for the blood to continue so they can eat it all up, buy it all up, and get in and buy a ton of stuff. While you are selling your stocks in fear, the wealthy are laughing, waiting to buy it back in greed. And there's a few people that I always like to follow. Okay. Chris Sane always says, when there's blood in the streets, it's time to eat. And Chris, I don't know where you've been, brother. You've been gone for a couple weeks. You've been doing some amazing things, doing some awesome things through the Lord, and doing some awesome things for your subscribers and your community. I was worried I didn't see videos for a while. Got a lot of questions, even in our Discord. Hey, have you seen where Chris Sane is at lately? But he posted something about an hour and a half ago, another video. Glad to see he's back in the house. Everybody's allowed to take a little bit of vacation time. And I noticed that he actually was doing some seminars and visiting some schools and doing some really cool things. So happy. If you haven't seen Chris Sane, check his YouTube channel out. Very cool stuff as well. But that's one that I like to follow. Stocks with Josh, same thing. Always looking at this is an opportunity to make money now. Jai, welcome, brother. Good to see you. I know you want me to show you Poet and BBI. Yes, absolutely. We're going to do that. Good to see you back in here. But anyway, let's go into the stocks. I've talked enough, probably close to 15 minutes or so. Talked enough. Let's get back into the stocks. And you can see that the S&P 500 is in fact holding in this gap up, and it's green, and that's nice. It closed on Friday at 8 p.m. at 659.03. We're at 661.94 right now. Very excited to see this gap up, which means, when we go to the AJDT November best day trade stocks, we're going to see similar. Tesla is up 2.26% right now. It was at $391. It's at over $400 per share right now. Look at this beautiful run up on Tesla. We're on a 15-minute. I'll give you the 30-minute. The same. I love to live in the 15-minute. AMD up 2% and a new green candle on a new 15-minute, which is great. Look at that. It's doing well. Nvidia, okay, pulled up and it's pulling back red, but it's okay. Let's hope that it kind of holds with everything, because Nvidia is a big Mag 7 and helps the S&P 500 quite a bit. Palantir's up 2% as well, 154 to 158. Intel also on an uptrend right now. Love to see this. SoFi on an uptrend right now. All the AJDT best day trade stocks are showing an upward trend right now, which is awesome. Rigetti also on an uptrend. APLD, all right, APLD pumped up, pulled back a little bit. So we'll see what APLD does, but it is up from the close, 2109 to 2156 overnight right now. QBTS on an up, SMR on an up. And then we're going to do some charting. I just want to get through these. Cipher, CIFR, doesn't open until the morning. UUUU also is a 24-hour stock, but hasn't really done anything yet here. A little bit of a pump up and back down, but really leveled off where it was. EOSE's got about a 1% increase, but not a 24-hour stock. QS is 24 hours following the SPY. Look at that, beautiful. You almost could call that an abandoned baby. But it is at the top of the wick, even though you could say that the market tried to push it back down, but it responded with a wick top up there. QUBT is up there. NVTS, wow, look at NVTS, everybody. 782. It's at 770 right now. Nice. NVTS and NVTX are awesome to play. Open is also not a 24-hour stock, but closed at 8 p.m. on Friday on an uptrend. We'll see if it opens up that way tomorrow morning. ONDS, the same thing. BBAI. All right, we're going to pause at BBAI here because we had a request to take a look at BBAI. Well, it hit 560, right? So it's still in the $5 range. All right. But remember, the market pulled down pretty hard on Friday morning before it worked its way back up and closed at, running kind of horizontal. So we'll see what happens here. But if we go to the daily on BBAI, and I know this is a mess, so let's go ahead and let's delete everything on here because I'm going to be redoing everything here anyway. But you can see it's been in a challenging downtrend, pretty much since, October. It's been on this downtrend. Had a nice, when earnings, it pumped it back up, and it had some news with, what was it? Chicago O'Hare Airport. So BBAI for me is still going to hit $10. We're just not there yet, not close to it. But for me, this is a great buying opportunity in BBAI. Let's go ahead and go to the 4-hour. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my box strategy on it. A lot of people have been asking, hey, show me the box strategy again. So here we are, market open on Friday. We're going to take it to the low of the wick, and we lock it in place. And then we're going to pull it across to the next trading day into the post market. And we're going to leave it there. And then we're going to go ahead and set a top level, 567. It's pretty close. All right. Boom. And we're going to leave that in play. And we're going to change the color of that one to my blue. And then we're going to set another one. And we're going to make that the support level. And it's really more like $5.03. And we're going to leave that red. And then we're going to go ahead and add a center line average. Okay, and I'm not going to do the math on it. You all can do the math on it. But let's say, look, 0%. Boom. That should be dead center. And we're going to make that one yellow. And now that's going to be the average. So now let's go back to a 15-minute. And what does that box look like for us? Okay, so you can see that this was the high of the day. That was the low of the day. And it spent all of Friday with the market working its way back up. Well, now in the overnight market, we're already pumping up and working towards this resistance level. If we can get out of this resistance level and break through it, then the potential is we continue to go towards the next levels. And I'm going to have to chart this whole thing back out again, but I actually saw something pretty cool, and I've been playing with it a little bit, so I'll share with you. There's an indicator that you can add to your screens called the pivot point. And if you're in TradingView, it's pivot point standard, and it's a free indicator. And I like it a little bit, not as much as sort of, because, I like to have a single line, because what I like to do is I get off auto and I can go across and see where does it hit again to that support level, right? And so close, right? Close, right? But it doesn't get down to that support level for a long time. And so, we're going months here. Let's actually go to the 1 hour. And you keep going until you find where it hits that. And there it is. Boom. All right. So down here. So, I'm pretty confident it's not going to get back down to there, but we are low right now in there. So let's turn pivot point off. But the other thing that's cool is it gives you these levels based on the last 5 days. What do I always preach to you? When I do range, I do a 5-day, 30-minute. And that's how in my charts, I'm always looking at 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 30-minute chart. Well, we're in a 1 hour. Okay. So I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's giving you what it believes to be the next, resistance level, 1, 2, 3, and the next support level, 1, 2, 3. So if we go in our box strategy here, let's go back to the 15-minute. The problem with this, let's go back to auto. Okay. Is that it kind of makes the chart a lot smaller. I like it a little bit taller. I like to be able to see what I'm working with in the day. But you can see we have this right here, level $5.73. The system is telling us that is our next resistance level. So we are 567 on our box strategy, 573 on resistance. So if we can break through this 567 box strategy and get to this 5 $5.73 resistance level. If it breaks through, we're going to the next one, which is $6.02, $6.37. So that's pretty cool. I like it a lot. I'm still playing with it a little bit because I want to kind of comprehend how it works, but it also gives you those support levels. Okay. So it's also going to give you the down. And it's going to give you, if it breaks back and drops back down and it goes this way in the box strategy, it's telling us that $5.09 is the next support level. My box strategy, $5.03. Okay. And then the next one down from that, 474 and 445. So give it a try. It may be good for people that are beginners, but I'm going to explain to you, and we are going to have a class. I think we're going to use Zoom. So we're trying to figure that out. But let's see, Jai got a comment in there, BBI, another partnership with Malaysian Airlines announced last week. That's right. I mean, listen, BBI is not going anywhere. They just continue to rack up contracts, and the whole market pullback, the whole market breathing's taking everything with it. Just be patient. Okay. There is a verse in the Bible that we go by, my wife and I. It's our year verse that we've been talking about all the time. It's be still and know. All right. You have to know who's in control, and it's not us. We're not in control of it. There are some market manipulators out there. I do understand. I do get that, but I know where I believe and I know where my trust is. So just be patient, wait and see what happens. BBI 100% is going to be one of those that soars. So Jai, I hope that worked for you. I hope that's what you were looking for. Let's look at Poet real quick. Well, actually, we'll keep going here. SLDP. Let me turn off the pivot point because it is noise. All right, SLDP on the 15-minute, had that hard rundown on Friday and did not on Thursday, came across, dropped down again on the Friday, and then it came up with the market. And I think we're going to see an uptrend tomorrow. I really do. I think we're going to see an uptrend, but be careful because there's potential, bull traps out there or bear traps out there. You're welcome, Jai. Thank you for being here, brother. But anyway, you're awesome too, man. You're awesome too. Join the Discord. Get in there with us. Let's go. All right. So let's continue down the line here. SLDP. Let's see what happens with SLD. LAS also. It's not a 24-hour, so we're not sure what it's going to do yet for tomorrow morning. And that's it on that list. Poet. Let's look at Poet together real quick. Poet Technologies. All right. I'm not going to delete these levels because these still live and are still true. The only thing I would change here is my floor is 383. All right. So 383. So now what we're in essence looking at, let's look at the daily on Poet. Oh my goodness. That's kind of ugly, Jai. That one's ugly. But what I can say is there's some hope of a good trend here because look, it came down and it is somewhat running horizontal in the daily, and it did pump up, but the sellers pushed it back down. But a greater candle, more volume. We need the MAC line to turn and cross above the signal before I would say it's an opportunity to get back into Poet. And we know Poet was doing great. They had this nice high, $9 and what's the high on there? $9.41. But all the way back down here at $3.87 low, $4.27, not a 24-hour market. So we'll see what happens on that one, or not 24-hour stock. We'll see what happens with that one. But I would be focused on APLD. NVTS, I really like, still pumping up a little bit. Look, it's also leveled out. And look, I still have my trend lines here for the pivot. Okay. Actually, that's my Fibonacci. I lied. That's my Fibonacci levels. So, still looks pretty good. I like NVTS at a good level. But listen, I'm not telling anybody to buy anything, sell anything, do anything. Maybe sit on the sidelines tomorrow morning and watch. It was said to me last week by one of our Discord members that they were freaked out and they didn't know what to do. They were sitting on the sideline. You got it, Robbie. We're going to hit DVLT in a minute. Yeah, I know that's one of his favorite stock. And Robbie called out DVLT. I think I might have mentioned it a long time ago. Robbie called it out a couple of weeks ago, and the Discord group has been trading it together. I missed it last week, and man, did I miss it because the thing went up nicely. We'll look at it. But I had someone tell me how they were freaking out about the market, but they didn't want to sit on the sidelines. They needed to get into something. That was their words. They needed to get into something, okay? And this was on a one-on-one. They needed to get into something. And my question was, why do you need to get into something? You know that cash is a position, okay? Being in the market, owning shares is a position. Having cash on the sidelines is also a position. And sometimes it's the safest bet. Because guess what you're not going to do if you're in cash on the sidelines? You're not going to lose anything. Now, yes, you're not going to make anything, but you're not going to lose anything. So just consider it's okay to be on the market on the sideline and watch and wait. But I will also urge you and tell you that if you have educated yourself to understanding support and resistance levels, how to chart your stocks, where the candlesticks tell you to get in and get out, then you should be able to make money every single day in the stock market. Are you going to lose on some? 100%. If you set the right stop loss, you may lose. If you set too tight of a stop loss and you get in sort of at a moment where the pullback's greater than the run up, then you're gonna hit a point where you sell it out on your stop loss every time and then watch it turn and run up. You have to understand your entry and exit. You have to educate yourself. You've got to understand the technicals. Listen, technicals, even myself, I'm taking some different classes, training classes by different YouTubers, okay? Not classes, but watching different videos to educate myself on different trend patterns and the way people look at things differently. Because my way, for me, works, but may not be the best way. And I want to continue to help the Discord members and you as subscribers and myself have the best potential to make money. And you can't do it by just sitting on the sidelines and not trying to learn and grow. And I will also say, I did have somebody jump into the Discord the other day, paid to become a member. And immediately the first comment that I got in the Discord was, can you tell me where is my next live trade entry and exit to make money in a stock? Okay. And I explained, hey, that's not how I operate. I want to teach you. I want to educate you. I want you to be able to share with us and us share with you, hey, we're about to have a great entry point. It's about to turn, and this is where we're getting in, versus just getting into a Discord or being part of a group that they're going to feed you live trades where you're going to win on some and you're going to lose on others because nobody really knows. But if you educate yourself and you understand where the bottom is on different stocks as they run in patterns, then you're going to have a great opportunity to make money. So anyway, I'm off the soapbox. Let's look at DVLT because I'm curious about that one as well. It did amazing last week. It really was one of the bright shining stars of the market. And so let's go back to a 15-minute and let's see what it did. So check this out, right? That's why I say bright star. All right. Man, look at this all day. Now it did bottom out a little bit in the post market. That's about, what time is this? This candle about 5:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then but the buyers pushed it right back and said, no, bears, you're not taking DVLT. And it ran back up. We look at this on the daily. Okay. And let's kind of close this up a little bit. We go to the daily on DVLT. I'm going to pull this back a little bit because I think we got room in the live. There we go. All right. We go to the daily on this. You can see that it's had kind of this hard tug of war. All right. But look what it's done. It ran horizontal for many days, and now it had this solid green. So I think DVLT is a rock star. It's a low dollar one, so you have an opportunity to kind of get into it, at a low price, but you also have to be careful because it did hit a high of $4.01 or $4.10, and it came all the way back down to $1.23. So there's a lot of risk in this because in essence, it's a penny stock, right? But it's on a nice trend. And if we look at the 4-hour on it, just come on. I'm going to go back to auto. Look at this day it had. Look at that 4-hour candle. You could have just lived in this 4-hour candle, waited to see this next one open up and get out and make money. And I know that Ravi made money on it. I think Paulette in the Discord, who's in here as in here live tonight, made money on it. I think Ronnie Cannonball made money on it. I know several in the Discord made money on it because we called it out. Ravi called it out. I'm giving credit every time to the team, for what they're doing. Called it out, and everybody made some really good money on it and got out when you needed to. This candle here, hard wick down, but I think got out, took profit. There's nothing wrong with getting out of it, and then guess what? Buy it back tomorrow. If it comes back down halfway and you know the candlestick pattern, you see this, buy it again, right? But be careful because the high on that, the level is $4.10. So be careful. All right. Yeah, Gil Getter. I'm gonna share with you Serve Robotics. All right, Serve Robotics and SoundHound. I mentioned it to you all. I am back in some positions on Serve Robotics and SoundHound, and I'll tell you why. This is the 4-hour. Look at the daily on it. Okay. It bottomed out here. It came down. It bottomed out. You had a drop down wick below this $8.66. Okay. This actually was a low of, let's see, 855. Had a high that day of 919. The next day, high of, wait a minute. Hold on. Yeah, 919. This candle here, we were a high of 954. This candle here, a high of 991. It did pull back here. We're at 802 bottom wick, and now it's back level. So you got to be careful with it. But when I look at the Friday that we had, look at that. Same reaction with the market, and then it just spent the rest of the day up. You could have got in here about 8, anywhere from 802 up and rode this thing to the close. Wow, nice 882 high. Loving it. So we're going to box strategy this one together, and I'll be pretty quick. I don't take a lot of time doing it. To show you how easy this is. Top of this candle, pull it down, bottom of this wick, lock it in. Okay, pull it across. Pull it across all the way. All right, boom, done. Box strategy in. We're already above, and I need to pull this up a little bit because it's a little bit higher, and I need to pull this one down a little bit. Okay, we're already at the top of the box strategy, so we need to break through that. But let's add our mid-level, and let's see here. Okay, make that one yellow. It's not hard. See, everybody, it's not hard. Do the box strategy. I'm telling you, I think that's probably not quite centered there. But we'll say that's about center. So we want to keep an eye on this one, when it's running, because it's not a 24-hour stock, Serve Robotics. So tomorrow morning when this opens up, we want to see, does it run down, does it run up? And we're going to go back to S&P 500. So Serve Robotics, we'll see. All right. We will see. And let me go back to the comments here. I don't want to miss anything. And so let me know if you're good with that, or if there's something specific you want to see on Serve Robotics. I like Serve Robotics. Like I said, I'm back in it. Longer term, more of a longer term swing, but I think Serve Robotics is going to run. SoundHound, same thing. Let's look at SoundHound together. These are two that I absolutely love. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Nice run on SoundHound. Go to the daily. Okay, same thing. SoundHound's been on this pretty gnarly downtrend, but it leveled out here. Everything is leveling out a little bit, and that's why I say I've got some hope for the market turning. But I don't think it's going to be yet. I do think we have more to pull back, and we got to get through Thanksgiving. And when we hit, I think December, probably maybe closer to the first week of December, I think everybody's going to start to be like super happy. Even in the Discord, everybody gets kind of quiet when the market is on a down day, because, we're not super excited pumping things like, you're not throwing darts at a dartboard and just hitting things and making money left and right. You have to work harder. You got to educate yourself. You have to understand the market and what the conditions are to make money. But I can tell you, okay, as an experienced day trader, you can make money. Any market condition, you can make money. And APLD is an amazing example of that you can make money. Let's look at APLD together one more time real quick. Let's go back to these. All right, APLD. So just to kind of show you this, let's go to the 15-minute. All right, every day. All right, now kind of hard to use Friday as an example, but for the most part, because this was like a falling knife. I even said to the Discord, I literally am just watching out for the knife to cut me. This was a falling knife for APLD. But listen, when it bottomed out and it ran back up with the market, one opportunity to make money here, another opportunity to make money here, okay? Two great opportunities to get in and get out. If you understood your candlestick patterns, you'd know you got in, you saw this red candle pulling back, then you had this next one, or you're out here at this point. That's where I'm out. Then you get back in where you see this engulfing green candle. All right, make it a little bigger. I know it's not quite what you would say engulfing, but look, it's twice the size, almost 3 times the size of this candle, which is what you want to see. Boom, into the next candle, entry, run up, 21.34, and you get out. Because this candle, larger than this candle, something's going to happen, and it just leveled off. So, all right, let's see what we got here. Ravi, let me know if did we do enough in DVLT? Did we do enough in DVLT? Because I know you definitely asked for that. Let me just go back to it for a minute. Did you want me to do the box strategy on DVLT? Just let me know. We can box it. I'll go ahead and box it in now. So now this one's a little bit more difficult. Oops, need to delete that. Nope, we're not going to delete all. Just delete this. Let me pull it over because I want to see that high. Okay, so we're going to go the opposite on this one because we get the high. Okay, Robbie, you got it, brother. And if you're not in the Discord, or if you're are in the Discord, then you know who Ravi is, because Ravi is making great call outs. He shares some technicals. I know that a lot of the Discord members are kind of asking Ravi a lot of questions. And when I'm, not in the Discord, or paying attention to some of the chat coming in, Ravi jumps in and answers questions. And man, I appreciate that. Jason's another one that, is really all over it for us. I don't think he's in here with us tonight. He's the one that did all the graphics for us for the channel. So if you notice, Cliff the Bear and Norm the Bull, super cool. I think he's working on Christmas, having them like dressed up as in Christmas outfits. That'll be exciting to see if he does it. But if he doesn't, no worries, Jason, because I know how super busy you are now with, everything you're doing in the recovery world and helping those people, and which is super awesome. So God bless you. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, DVLT, we're good. Let's see what happens with DVLT tomorrow. This may be one I jump in with you all tomorrow, when we're in live in Discord together. We'll see how it plays out. All right. Definitely not Jason Bateman. There he is. Definitely not Jason Bateman. There he is, brother. Hey, good to see you in here, Jason. Good to see you in here. There he is. Thank you for the heart. All right. Anyway, listen. I want to share a couple things with you that you may want to know, you may not want to know. Let me just hit a couple things for some of the folks that are not here live with us, because I know I get a lot of questions about some of the higher cap stocks. So let me let's go back to this. Let's go to Tesla. I'm going to share a couple levels with you. All right. Some of this has to change, but based on where we are right now on Tesla, okay, my range is basically 383, which is still the bottom here. And I'm going to keep that there because this is my 5-day floor. We're not there yet. So anywhere from 383 to 403 is kind of the range. And you can see I'm still sort of there at 402.94. All right. And I'm not changing that because that's my level. And if I can break that, 403 is really where I believe that is in total. But there's the possibility that intraday or in swing trade, we may see 374. We may see Tesla pull back down. Now, right now you're looking at it and you'd say, I don't know. The market looks pretty good on it. Tesla's 24 hours. Not bad with the gap up. It's holding up here. Okay. But there's a potential this could hit 374.82. If it hits 374.82, 366 is the next level down. So mark that on your charts. If it's on the up, all right. If it's on the up, then we also could see 416. But I will tell you that if it gets to 392.57 and it doesn't hold above it and it turns to go back down, that's a sell signal. All right. Or if you're an options trader, I believe that's a put signal. All right. So, I just be careful with it. But those are sort of my levels. My bottom low on Tesla, 366.20, 374.82, 392.57, 394.29, and 416.10. And then, like I said, the actual levels that I'm following in here for, my chart itself is, again, this 402.94, 409.33, all right, 419, 427.63. I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but I'm giving you basically how I chart. And somebody said to me the other day that my chart looked like an EKG machine because I usually have, line. That's how I trade. I know a lot of traders say that if you have too many lines, it's confusing. It is confusing. You've got to understand your 5-day, 30-minute average. Where's the top? Where's the bottom? Because in essence, that's where you're going to. But I like to see where is that resistance going to hit me. Okay. Like right here. There's a lot of noise right here, This is a level right here that's either a lot of support or a lot of resistance, right? But it's not what I'm calling out as a main level. But for me, I would be watching that. If it gets there and it's stuck, I know why, because it's banging up and down against that support, either from top down or up or bottom up. Just how I roll. All right. NVIDIA is another one that I get a lot of questions on. So let's look at NVIDIA. And I will tell you, again, I also have some levels here for NVIDIA. I'm going to give you my levels based on what I'm looking at as a low, okay? So 164.06, we don't want to head in that direction. 172.94 was the low for the day. So we're hoping to stay above and hold and break this 183.84 and head towards 196.08. All right. It's at 180.70 right now. So we're above where we closed on Friday, and that's good. Let's see what happens there. All right. Let's see any other comments in there. And listen, throw in here. We got 24 people in here. Hey, welcome. Thank you for being here. So happy to have you. Hit the subscribe button, the like button, notification bell when you get a chance to do that. Also, you can go to the link below in the description for the Discord if you want to join and become part of the AJDT family. Would love to have you there. We are building it from the bottom up. But here's the thing. I don't know what that white thing is. Keeps pumping in and out of the video. I just noticed. NVIDIA, these are sort of the levels. So just be careful on NVIDIA. And I believe, this is my opinion, okay, don't mark my words, but I believe within 2 to 4 weeks, we're going to see NVIDIA get back up over $200. My target for NVIDIA, my gold target is 219.64. Somewhere within 2 to 4 weeks, I believe we get towards 220. All right. And that's how I feel. That's my opinion. You have to do your own homework, your own due diligence on it. But that's what I believe NVIDIA is getting to. And then the last thing I wanted to share with you all is the SPY. Let's go back to it for a minute and see how we're performing in this aftermarket. All right. Oh, Hood. Somebody asked for Hood. Jason, I wasn't able to jump into the comments. Yes, but I heard you say something about Zoom. What and when? That'll be fun. Yeah, we're going to do a Zoom call for the chart training. I'm going to do a master class. What I'm working out right now is I want to do a beginner class. So we'll have 3 sections for beginners, then intermediate, and then advanced. We're going to talk box strategy a little bit more. I'm going to share with you how I chart as a beginner, what time frames to look at. The Discord members, as paying members, you guys are going to have access for free. If you're not part of the Discord and you want to take this class, we're going to charge $25. It's going to be a 30-minute class. We'll probably run closer to 40, 45 minutes. I want to have time for questions. It will be interesting because we're going to have live where you are in Zoom and you can actually speak and ask questions, put me on the spot. But I want it to be more educational, more training. So you can hit me in the chat during there about, specific things you want me to look at and chart, but we're going to really spend most of the time educating ourselves on how to chart. So, that'll be exciting. That will be fun, but it'll be more for training, Jason, more for education. All right. Let's go to the SPY real quick and see where we are at with it. It's not pulling up all the way. There we go. All right. So, okay, we're kind of holding here, right? Not too exciting. It's holding. Nothing to be upset about. It may run horizontal the rest of the night, and I don't have a problem with that. Let it stay up a little bit. Matter of fact, I think I shared with you, there's an individual that has a strategy that they buy on Friday right before the market closes. They buy a bunch of stocks looking for this right here. Okay. And, I don't know. Let's go here to, this is a 1% MU micron, right? So they bought here at 8 p.m. at 207.37, and they got the gap up and could have sold at 212 and pretty much been done and out of the market already in the overnight trading. So that's kind of cool. I like the strategy, but you don't always get the gap up. But again, something to consider if you're not looking to sit in and be a trader on the market watching the charts all day long. Anyway, let's go. I think what did we have? We had Hood. Let's look at Hood. All right, let's look at Robinhood real quick. How do I feel about Robinhood? Robinhood is part of the S&P 500 now. So Robinhood's going to act more like the S&P 500 because it's part of the S&P 500. SoFi, we believe one day is going to be part of the S&P 500, but it's not there yet. So Robinhood, let's go to the daily. Let's kind of see what's happening with it. It's been somewhat of a downtrend since it announced it was going to be in the S&P 500. But I don't know. It's not one I would get into right now if you're considering taking a longer term, just because, you've got a lot of noise here. And I know my lines are driving everybody crazy. All right. Sorry about my lines. Sorry about my lines, right? I'm going to pull it down so to make it look less noisy. So a lot of this is box strategy stuff that I've been doing. So like this blue, we can delete that. We can delete this one. Actually, leave that one because that is actually a new level. We can delete that one. That was the bottom. We can delete this one. That was a top line. We can leave that one. That's an actual support. Get rid of that one and that one. All right, so we'll stay with that. Looks a little cleaner for you there, okay? And if you want to know if that works, what you do is look left, okay? Does it hit 3 points? Well, this one 100% does. This one 100% does, right? This one definitely hits more than 3 points. This one hit several points, and then you pull it across, go to auto, and we pull across, okay? And yeah, hood is way down here, but that's okay because over the last many, many, many days, right? You could say several weeks, several months, it's been on this nice up, pulling back down. But I believe when it levels off here, about $97, the bottom of this candle right here, all right, kind of hard to get to it. Boom. The bottom of this candle is $95.66. I feel pretty confident that if it gets down, and it already is there, it's wick down here. If it comes down here and it tests this $97 level, to $95.66, we need it to hold here. If it breaks down past this, it's going to keep going down. If it doesn't and it holds, then this is that level right here that gives you that turn, because that's where it turned and rode up here. Came back, tested this level, went back up, down, and look what it did here. Tested this level, went back up. All right. Now that's 3 tests on this line. I like to see that, but then it broke through with market conditions and it's down here now breaking through these lines. So we need it to hold here. If it gets here, we want it to reject here on support and pump back up. So hood looks pretty good, but like I said, I don't know that it would be something I would be throwing my money into right now. If you're in it for a long-term play, you're already an investor, then Warren Buffett said, don't worry about it. If it goes down 50% from here, set it and forget about it. Don't worry about it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I've got for you. Anything else in here real quick? I'm going to give you a second on comments to see if there's anything else you want me to look at with you. Let's look at Google. Look, Google's up 3% tonight. Google is up 3% already tonight. Look at that monster candle at 312 in the overnight 24-hour market. That's pretty incredible. So, and it's holding up top here. Man, I'll tell you, Warren Buffett, he knows his stuff for sure. All right. Well, thank you so much. God bless each and every one of you. Oh, Joby. All right, Jason, you got it, brother. Joby, Joby. Let's look at Joby together. Yeah, so Joby, I know I did a video about Joby last week, and I still am major bullish on Joby. But I am going to tell you, and some of you may not like to hear this, I do think that even though Joby gapped up here, there is the potential based on current trend that Joby could pull down. I know some of you took a position, and so did I, and I'm not stressing over it because for me, I knew it wasn't going to be a day trade, and I knew I probably wouldn't swing it. If it did a monster launch, I was going to make some nice money on it and probably get out, wait for the dip, down and buy it again. Joby's long-term. Joby's got some amazing things going on. They're in partnership with Delta already, partnership with Toyota backing them. They just entered into this agreement with Uber. They're going to be the first George Jetson taxi service. All right. And for some of you that may be younger here in the chat or in the live or watching the video, if you don't know who the Jetsons are, go Google, go YouTube, the Jetsons, and watch an episode of the Jetsons if you can. I grew up on it as a kid. I love the Jetsons. I wish it was still on playing because I would watch it now. But the Jetsons are an incredible show that are telling us where the future is going to be. Yeah, I know, Jason. No worries, brother. He's in Colorado. But Joby, you may see single digits again. I'm not going to tell you what number because I have a number that I believe, and it's not on this chart. I've been trading it, putting it on TradingView and kind of going through some analysis of Joby, just like Archer and some of the other ones that I've been monitoring and watching. I think we may see a single digit. If it pumps up from here, awesome. Let's break this 1360 and keep going. But potentially, it may pull back. It may drop a little bit to single digits. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. And I just listen. I have a lot of respect for what they do in Saudi Arabia, and that's where they're building, they're testing, they're growing it. All right. Also in California, they're testing it. They're doing a lot, but what they're doing in Saudi Arabia, I think it's going to be incredible. And they've got a lot of support and a lot of financial backing. They're not going to let this bad boy go to zero. So long term, I think this is a very good stock, one that we'll look back at and say, wow, thank you. I'm glad that we got into it. All right. So we'll see what happens. All right. Ann is asking, what is a gal to do with Fubo? Holding a bag at 420. Oh my gosh. So Fubo, right? Fubo and I are not friends. If you have been with me since the beginning, Fubo and I are not friends. And the only thing I would recommend, I don't know how many shares you're in, but you could dollar cost average down on Fubo. You're not in it at much at 420. I don't know how many shares you bought, and if you're willing to share that. But they're sitting at 316, and in the aftermarket, they were at 319. That's not too bad, okay? But Fubo is one that I got into a long time ago, and I ended up holding and bag holding it for the longest time until it finally had some good news and took profit. They were supposed to be, and they are, in some sort of an agreement with Disney. And what we found out after the fact was that Disney got into an agreement with them to push them out of the way, basically to shut them down from becoming amazing. So Fubo had some incredible opportunities, and I think they got squashed when Disney bought them. Yes, 100%, Jason. Disney did buy them a long time ago, probably last year. So I don't know what Fubo is going to do. There's a lot of positive sentiment about Fubo right now, saying there's the potential for it to run up, but this doesn't look good. Okay. Now, again, check out my support and resistance levels. $3.18 were right here. It did wick down to 305. You needed to stay above and pull up and head in that upward trend direction. But if we go across, if we pull it across, you'll see it wicked and it rejected and pushed it all the way up there. Okay, it did wick down below, pushed back up there. All right, but it also was a low of 228 of recent. So I'm not sure what to tell you on that, except like I said, if you can dollar cost average and get it to pump up a little bit and get out. But there's another thing about dollar cost averaging you have to understand. If you throw more money into it, this shows 3 solid days of downtrend. Even with this nice green day, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 days of downtrend with this green in the middle. This buyer sentiment wasn't enough to push it to keep it up. And the market's been pulling everything back. This is not just a Fubo issue. All right. But Fubo potentially, could be a little bit down. 850 shares. Well, good for you. You are like me. You like to get in heavy. Now, did you start with 850 shares, Ann, or you landed up with a total of 850 shares? Because that would be, that would be a great position, to get into as you dollar cost average down. If you've already done dollar cost average down a couple times, then I would just recommend you stay and wait. Or depending on how many shares you're down, you got in at 420, so you're talking about $3,500, $3,600. It depends on the size of your account. Okay, so you dollar cost average down a few times, or maybe once or twice. All right, so, just be careful. Oh, yes, you started with the 850? Okay, I got you. All right, that's a lot of shares you're in, but, you've got to look at your account overall. My account I trade with is, it's down pretty good right now in some of the stocks I'm in, waiting for it to come back, but I'm usually, around the average of 30,000 in this account. I was at a high of almost 50,000 until the market started turning red, and that's okay, because a lot of the other stocks I'm in, some long-term things that are, based on healthcare stuff, cancer research, and, some things that are going on that I feel very strongly about. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Like I said, if you're watching this video on YouTube, not live, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. Hit the like button for me. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for those that are here with us live. Thank you so much for participating. If you hadn't joined the Discord yet, go ahead and hit the description and go to the link and get in the Discord with us so you can be ready to, communicate with the team and, just hear it as it comes. David, you are welcome. Thank you, each and every one of you, for participating. Lynn, thank you. Look forward to seeing you in the Discord tomorrow. Paulette, Ravi, those of you that were in there, John Palladino, Jason, all of you guys, have a good night. God bless you. See you tomorrow. Josh out. Peace.